When it comes to picking a light for your fish tank, it can be a little overwhelming. It seems like a big decision, it could be pretty expensive, and there's a lot of information online that just makes that decision that much more difficult, especially if you're a newbie like I am. I've only been doing this hobby for a few years, but I've learned a lot about lighting, and today in this video, I'm going to show you around my fish room, show you the different lights I'm using, and show you that it really is not that complicated, and it does not have to be expensive at all to achieve pretty decent results as far as plant and fish growth go. So let's jump right in and take a look. So I'll tell you, you don't need those fancy fish lights that you think you need. However, if you only have one fish tank, go ahead and spend the money and get a nice light. They're actually worth it in my opinion. Now, if you have multiple fish tanks like me, maybe you caught multiple tank syndrome and you've got 50, 60, even 10 tanks, you're gonna have to find a cheaper option because you can't just buy tons of really nice Chihiros lights for all those tanks. You'll go broke real quick. Let me show you around and show you what I'm using that's budget friendly and very effective. You're gonna hear the same company come up over and over again because I'm a big fan of them. Barrina. I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 5 different Barrina lights in this fish room, and I was actually contacted by Barrina to do a couple reviews on some of their newer products, so we'll show you that later in the video. And if you like any of these lights, there'll be affiliate links down in the description. Click on those, they'll take you right to the Amazon page. I make a small commission off of it. It helps support the channel. If you don't like these lights, then don't buy them, it's no big deal. So the first type of light I'm using in my fish room are T8 style LED grow lights. These are made by Barrina. I've got some right up here that I'm actually using to illuminate most of my 40 gallons, at least over here. They're a 30 watt, 5000 Kelvin LED T8 light. So basically 5000 Kelvin is the warmth of the light. It's kind of the color spectrum. I prefer a 6500 Kelvin. It's more of a cool standard white, but these are 5000. I've grown very used to them. It's actually a lot easier on the eyes. They're just a little more orange, yellowish, you know, gotten a little more of a tint to them. I don't know the difference when it comes to how it makes plants grow. I just know that these grow lights grow plants, both aquatic and terrestrial, and they're good for starting seedlings too. So you can buy a 6-pack of these right now on Amazon, I believe for $88, which ends up being about 15 bucks a light, which for a very powerful full spectrum grow light, that's pretty decent. And what I really like about these is the built-in shades. So this is the grow light right here. If I show you underneath, it's one long tube going basically from that end all the way to that end. I kind of have it hidden up behind this 2x4 so you can't really see it. What I really like about these is the fact that they have a included shade. So see, these shades will slide into these grooves on this light, and that prevents your eyes from getting blinded by the super powerful light. I have this elevated about 9 inches above the tank. You can see it's growing this pothos very nicely. I've noticed that it's actually a little too powerful for some plants, so you have to watch your distance. I'm surprised this pothos is doing as well as it has been, because any closer to this light and it probably would get burnt. And then it's going through this dirty lid and into this tank. This is a 40-gallon tank, and it's doing a great job of growing plants. I just took out a ton of this guppy grass that was taking over this tank. You can see that there's some Bosemani rainbow fish in here. There's some hillstream loaches in here. I've got some Java fern growing very well in here. Some more Java fern over here, just standard. There's some Rotala in here, and it's, you know, it's a warmer looking light, so it's a little easier on the eyes. See, there's a bunch of Rotala in there growing out of a pot. It also grows the floating plants very well. But you know, for a nice aquarium LED light, for a 3-foot light, you could spend $60, $80, $100, $200, even more than $200. You start looking at some really nice aquascape lights, you could spend quite a bit of money. But this only cost me $15. And what I like about these is they're simple. You see, I got another one down here. They're very simple. They have 3 different ways you can mount them, basically. I basically just have them screwed to the sides, but you can also hang them from zip ties. There is a double-sided tape, which, to be honest with you, I would not trust that. I feel like it would fail eventually. And there's also these brackets that you can screw into studs, and I use those for a lot of other applications as well. I think these lights do a great job of lighting up the fish and growing plants. And in a fish room where you're primarily breeding for profit and breeding for fun, you're not really worried about each tank looking like a show tank. As long as you're growing plants well and you're growing fish well, that's all that really matters. I got over the fact that I really like the 6500 Kelvin lights, but they're a little harder to find in grow lights. You can find them, but these Barrina lights, the size that I needed, came in 5000 Kelvin, and I've definitely gotten used to it. So this tank up here is also another Barrina light, and you can see here, just to mess around with a different mounting system, I actually bought these fancy pants hanging light kits on Amazon. I was just kind of messing around with it, and I took some self-tapping sheet metal screws and screwed it right into the actual shade, and I hung this above the tank. But you could have just as easily taken the included brackets that come with this and screwed it to a stud up here. That hanging kit is not included, it's just something I was farting around with. But you can see that there's connections on both sides. So here's one connection here, and you can daisy chain up to 8 of these together. Like I said, they're 30 watts each. They put out a lot of light, and they come with these included shades, which is my favorite part about them. Here's another example of that Barrina T8 style LED light. You can see this is a little metal bracket right here. You can screw that right to a stud, and then this just pops in. Again, here's another look at the shade. So if you didn't have the shade on here, you'd get blinded. So the shade just slides in, but you don't have to use them if you don't want. If you want to maybe get a little more spread out of your light. You can see it's doing a great job of growing this pothos here. And there's also I believe this is a philodendron Birkin variety that is growing on the top of this tank. And this tank doesn't really have any plants in it, but it's got some new rainbows in it. These are the Melitania suci, and they look incredible. You should see them when they're really lighting up. Maybe I'll try to get some B-roll of them later. They look incredible. And of course, you got these beautiful Philippine blue angelfish. So yeah, another example of that $15 Barrina T8 light. That's the 3-foot version. They come in different lengths. I think they come in 2 foot, 4 foot. Most of them are 5000 Kelvin, which is going to be more of a warmer white color. If I wanted to show you any example in this room and tell you that you don't need to spend a lot of money on lights to grow plants, I'd show you my 100-gallon stock pond. Believe it or not, there is actually a pond somewhere down here underneath all this beautiful plant growth. And I'm growing all these plants with very cheap lights. I'm actually using these Barrina Pendant style lights here. These come out to be about $27 a piece. You can buy either a single light or you can buy a 2-pack. The 2-pack is connected, and there are simple switches that turn each light off individually. I would recommend buying the 2-pack because the 1-pack has a built-in timer, but there's no 12-hour mode on it, which I think is a huge flaw. So eventually, if you set your light, I think there's a 14-hour timer. So basically, you'll have to reset it every few days, because let's say you want your lights to turn on at 9 a.m. Well, the next day it'll be like 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. and then it'll just keep changing. These you can use a smart timer with. So I buy the 2-pack. I believe it's $54, 27 bucks a piece when you just break it down like that. Another full spectrum 5000 Kelvin LED light. I believe they're 25 watts a piece. And what I like about these is they look really cool. They've got the built-in shade again. They grow plants really well, and they mount to the ceiling. Now you can see it looks a little janky what I'm doing here. I'm trying to direct the light towards that little umbrella tree in the back. So I've got another one. I believe I have at least 4 lights over here. Yeah, I've got one pendant light there, one up there, one right here, one right here. You can see I've got some pothos growing up the one. How cool is that? Probably gonna get burnt if I leave it in front of that light. It's just getting fried right there. I have to move that. And basically, this pond has 4 of those pendant lights. So, you know, a little over $100 in lighting right there, which I understand is kind of a lot. And then this is a very cheap LED light I bought from Menards. I don't remember how much it was, but this is 85 watts. This guy's 85 watts. This guy's 25 watts. Altogether, I got 5 lights on this pond. But look at the plant growth. I mean, here's, I think, a philodendron crocodile or something like that. This is one of my favorites. It's growing this burrow's tail really well indoors. This is a highlight plant, I think. Umbrella tree is doing awesome. I've had this in here for about a year now. The Monstera Delicioso is looking really, really nice. Look how big these leaves are. This is my hand. I don't have very big hands, but still, that is a huge leaf. And look how nice they're developing. You know, I've got a spider plant up here that's just got a million little babies coming down. See all these little babies I can clip off and propagate. Look at this pothos. Look how thick this stem is. Absolutely monster. And if you want to see a real monster of a pothos, look back there. Those leaves are gigantic. Like, those are probably 4 of my hands. And they're just massive. So that thing's growing up the wall. I'm loving that. I'm gonna leave that for sure and just let it take over. You can see it looks like it's growing back here as well. The peace lily is flowering back here. The leaves look very healthy and waxy. I've got a rabbit's foot fern right here that's, I just love coming here and petting it. I just love the way this feels. And if you're curious why they call it rabbit's foot fern, underneath it looks like little rabbit feet. It's kind of creepy, actually. I don't really like that part, but I don't ever look at it. It's okay. Look at this pothos. Look at the look at the size of the stem. It's just huge. We took a family trip to Mexico this spring, and we saw some native pothos like growing up a tree. And this is, you know, it gets really, really big, way bigger than this. But this is the biggest I've seen indoors. And it's all because of these lights. Well, this light, and then of course this shop light here. But I can say, I didn't spend very much money on these lights, and look how nice everything's growing. You can see I've got to probably trim this or redirect it. This is absolutely growing insane. We've got some more ferns here that I love. More pothos over here. Yeah, just a whole bunch of cool stuff. So that's the second light I have, are these hanging pendant lights. And they're actually going to be on my new tank. So I just inherited this 75-gallon tank. I have not scaped it yet, so that's not really much to look at. It's using my tap water. So it's going to be a hard water tank, a very hard water tank. And I'm going to be using a really cool sprinkler timer in my next video and setting up an automatic water change using my faucet. You can see I have 2 of these pendant lights over this tank, and this is going to be really cool because I'm going to grow a bunch of plants out the top of this tank, so it'll be like a jungle on top. And even if I can't grow plants down in the water, which it's going to be 50-50 if I can grow anything in my water is extremely hard, at least I'll have some really nice plant growth up here. And again, these cost me 27 bucks a piece. It's very cheap. You light a whole 75-gallon tank for a little over 50 bucks. I think that's a pretty decent price. You can certainly do it cheaper, don't get me wrong, but these are nice. They're flexible. They come with these really nice mounts up here that all you have to do to change them is unscrew this bottom portion, and then you can move the cord up and down. This is the actual control for them. So if you get the dual one, it's just got 2 buttons on it, and then you hit those buttons to turn them on. And again, why I like these so much is they look pretty nice. You know, they're definitely not an eyesore. They're adjustable, and they've got the shade, so you're not getting blinded. So let's say you're really rocking and rolling with some plants on the top of this tank and they're just getting out of control, and you want to like bring this up a little bit, you can. Just unscrew the bottom of this, pull this cord through, and adjust it. Or maybe they're not getting enough light, you can lower it a little bit as well. So yeah, just a really neat light. I highly recommend these for houseplants and aquariums. I'll show you my houseplant area too if you're curious. The next light I'm going to show you is also a Barrina light. This might be the most budget-friendly option I'm using in my fish room right now. This is also a Barrina shop light. This is a T5 style LED light. This actually comes in 6500 Kelvin, so it's that nice cool white. This is my favorite color temperature as far as lighting goes. These are, I think, 18 watts a piece. So they're very low power. You can, if you're trying to save on electricity, this is definitely a good option. They're not as bright as the other lights I'm using, but if you don't need them to be bright, they'll grow things fine like anubias, moss, lower light plants. You can probably grow higher light plants if you used a bunch of these, but then that kind of defeats the purpose in my opinion. Like I said, so they're 6500 Kelvin, about 18 watts a piece. You can get a 6-pack on Amazon for, I believe, $48. And that comes out to be about $8 a light, so that's very cheap. It also comes with mounting hardware, various different options on mounting them. You can string them along together. I think you can connect about 10 together. And they don't come with shades, so you could build your own shade or you can hide them somewhere. But I really like how simple these are. They come with a simple on and off switch, no timer, which I prefer, no timer. Very lightweight. And I actually use these in my fish shipping area. Really light that space up and help me see what I'm doing. I lied, these are 16 watts. I think I said 18 watts, 16 watts. But anyway, if you don't need super high lighting, you can use something like that. You can see I've kind of hidden them underneath this 2x4. I've got, I think, 6 in series on this rack here. I've got a couple, I think, maybe just on top up here. But, I've got, for these, I got 4 10 gallons down here. I don't have, they're not the brightest ever. I've got one 3-foot Barrina light right there. And if I turn the camera around, hopefully you can see I got another one back there. And basically all I've done is use the included metal brackets. There's a metal bracket right here. I've just screwed it right to the wood and the metal part of the light just snaps in and you're ready to go. It comes with all the hardware you need to link them together. It comes with all the cords you need. I haven't actually tied this up out of the way, but that's eventually will get tied up out of the way. This light's not on. We'll talk about this light next. But basically, you can see it does a good job of lighting the fish. It's not super bright, but fish actually, I feel like, prefer a dimmer light. It makes them probably feel a little more comfortable. It's growing that anubias nana petite very well. The moss is looking a little leggy, and the plants back in that cup are not looking horrible. Like the rotella is definitely not super robust, but it's growing. I wouldn't recommend this light if you're trying to get a really nice planted tank because it's not the brightest light. You can see down here, same thing. I've got another 2 of them hidden in the 2x4. Same thing down here. I've got some CPDs that I'm growing out with some moss and some floating plants. You can see the floating plants aren't super vibrant. They're just not getting enough light. But the pothos is doing fine. That's a low light plant. So if you're growing low light plants, this light is definitely worth checking out. And it's definitely cheap. I think I said it was like $8 a piece. 16 watts power usage, so definitely good for saving on electricity. You're still lighting your fish. It's got a real nice color spectrum, the 6500 Kelvin color spectrum. And to light this whole rack, what did it cost me? 16, 32, 40, it's cost me about $50 to light this whole rack, so that's not too bad. You can certainly do it for cheaper than that, but I think that's pretty affordable. I've looked at some long-term reviews on these lights. They seem to hold up really well for a long time. That's what sold me on these. You see, I also have them over here on my egg hatching rack right here. So this is one of the switches it comes with. I think it comes with 3 of them in a 6-pack. Click that on. And just like that, it lights up what you need to see. I'll also show you my fish shipping area so you can kind of see how it lights up that area as well. So excuse the mess, but I also have these lights over here in my fish shipping area. I think I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 tied together right here. And then where I actually weigh the boxes, I've got more right here. So I only turn these on when I need to, but these would be great in a garage or a workspace. Not the prettiest light in the world, but again, they're very low cost. These are the 4-foot version I bought. I like them so much for my aquariums. I bought some for my workspaces too. And you can see it's doing a great job of lighting up this area too. I've got some foam, some scales, some coffee, everything I need to weigh your box and ship it out to you. Another light I was using for a long time are these HDX shop lights from Home Depot. These are pretty affordable. I don't remember exactly how much they cost. It's just like a work light. It's got an on-off button on the back. I'm pretty sure they're water resistant. Not very powerful. You can see there's not a whole lot of LEDs in there. I think it's a 5000 Kelvin as well. They got me by for a long time, so I have to mention them. But I don't really use them in my fish room anymore. I think I've only got one running, and I've got it kind of on the ceiling here, and it's just lighting up a pothos plant. So I don't really use those anymore, but they did a great job for me for a long time, so they're worth mentioning. The next light that I've been using a lot in my fish room are these LED floodlights. These are 100 watt, 6500 Kelvin outdoor floodlights. I think they run about $12 a piece. They come in 2 packs for $24. They produce a very nice cool white, and they make aquariums look absolutely beautiful. By far one of my favorite lights that I use, but I will warn you, they get very hot, so you have to mount them somewhere. I would not recommend laying these down on anything. They get very hot to the touch. They're very thin. I just screw them to a stud, really. I'm lucky that I'm down here where I can kind of screw stuff to studs, but you could also make like your own bracket or something. Maybe you can put them on a piece of glass. I wouldn't put them on anything that would melt or light on fire. They're just doing a great job growing the plants for a single LED on here. You can really see the blues coming out in the turquoise rainbow fish, and they just look really nice. One single LED light is all you need for these tanks. Here's another 40-gallon tank with another one of those lights mounted above it. That's probably about 9 inches above it again. And you can see it's doing a great job of growing this moss. And it makes the Bosemani rainbow fish look really nice as well. The habistax that I planted a little while ago is growing in nice in this tank. So yeah, these are definitely a great budget option. $12 for a light for your 40-gallon tank. It's got decent spread. If you really wanted to light a 40-gallon, I'd probably buy 2 of them and put one on this end, one on this end. I don't really need to light up the whole tank. I just want to light up the center of the tank. The light kind of comes down like this and spreads down here and down here. So you're going to have dark corners, which is okay. It gives the fish a place to kind of hide when they're scared. But yeah, I'm a big fan of these lights. If I could go to touch it right now, yeah, they're pretty warm. I can put my hand on it for a couple seconds, then I have to remove it. But you can see I'm also growing pothos on top of these tanks. Awesome light. The cords are a little short. I don't like that about these. That's the only thing I can really say about them. Cords are short and they get a little hot. But other than that, great value, and they make the tanks look really, really nice. So I'll definitely be switching out some of my lights for these up here, because $12 for a 100 watt 6500 Kelvin light is a great bargain. This next light is made by AQIQUUT. It's a 6500 Kelvin shop light. These are 2 feet long. They're also about $12 a piece. They come in 4 packs. You can only link 4 of them together because they're 25 watts, so they are quite a bit of power. But they're 6500 Kelvin, so they get a really nice, cool, bright white light again. They do get a little warm on the back end, but they come with nice mounting hardware to screw to, 2x4s. I really like these. These are my newest lights. I've been playing around with these, and they've been growing plants very well. Very similar to the Barrina. These are not Barrina, but they were a very similar light that it grows plants very well, and $12 a piece is a great bargain. So I'm starting to put these on my 10-gallon tanks, and we're going to look at the progress on those. I also have this on my fry system, and I'm really happy with how it's performing. Again, a very simple light. I like lights that don't have timers because I can put them on smart timers, and they turn on and off when I want them to. And I don't have to reset them every time the power goes out. So right now I just have this light laying on top of these 10 gallons, but this is the light we just talked about. And you can see it's doing a great job of growing this Anacarus in here. It's actually growing quite well. It was also growing some moss really nice back here. It's kind of hard to see. And some Java fern. There was also some other plants in here I had to remove because they were growing too well. But very happy with how this tank performs, especially sitting right on top of a 10 gallon. Again, probably not the most powerful light in the world, but 25 watts in a 2-foot package is pretty good. And you can see it lights up my tanks for what I need it to do. We're breeding fish, so we just need to see what the fish are doing, grow some plants, and that's about it. So I'm in the process of switching these lights out. I'm going to be switching them out for one of these per 3 or 4 10 gallons, and we'll see how that goes. I have one of those on my fry system as well. You can see it's pushed all the way towards the wall right now. Very, very bright. They don't come with shades, but they really help you see what you're doing. And they grow plants really well too. See, this pothos is doing great, and so is this plant over here. Now I do have some pretty high-tech lights in this fish room as well, because I like to test things out. And this is my newest light. This is a Chihiro's WRGB Slim. I was watching that handsome devil Stefan from Lush and Salty Aquariums, and he definitely sold me on one of these in one of his videos. Unfortunately, I haven't had time to maintain my tanks lately, so the floating plants have just absolutely taken over. But I'm really happy with this light. It's app controlled, Bluetooth, makes a fish look really nice. Try to get some B-roll for you later. Next light I have over here is a Fluval planted 2.0, 3.0, whatever it's called. Also app controlled light. Very, very good light. I actually have it just strapped to the wood above this tank here. This is a 40-gallon tank, and it's growing plants like you wouldn't believe. Again, same thing. I am growing too many plants. I haven't had time to get in here and remove some of these and throw them in the compost pile, but there is quite a bit of plants in here and fish. Here's another example of one of those LED spotlights. So I just have it mounted underneath this 2x4 above this 40-gallon. And look at the guppy grass that it's been able to grow. Sydney just got in here yesterday and removed some floating plants, and look at, there's still a ton of floating plants in here. Makes the fish look really nice. Some really nice goodeids. But yeah, very economical way to light a tank. $12. Can't beat that. So the next 2 products will be the sponsored items that I received for free, so just keep that in mind when I'm talking about them. I'm not a very critical person, but all I can talk about is my experience with the products, and it's been very good so far. So like I said, Barrina reached out to me. I had already been using a ton of their products. It was just by luck that they reached out. and they sent me a couple of these OG09 grow lights. These are like the Orbgrow series. These are, I think, more based towards like house plants, but I think they would light up a aquarium quite well. So it's a small like circular light. They're very lightweight and they're linkable. You can link up to 12 of these, and the cords that they come with are, you know, they come in like 8-inch cords or 48-inch cords. It comes with a couple cords in the pack when you buy the 2-pack. There's all different kinds of packs you can buy. But basically, I really like these because they have little magnetic mounts. So this part down here is magnetic. And this is a little sticker that's magnetic. And it's that easy to mount it. So this would look really cool mounted underneath a cabinet or a shelf if you're growing houseplants. And why I have them up here is they're above my 75-gallon breeder tank. So this tank houses all of my breeder fish, basically all of my nicest rainbows and angelfish. I collect them, I put them in this tank here, and then I pull them out and breed them when I want to increase my numbers on a certain species. But I want to also grow plants above this tank, so I've got a nice Monstera Delicioso that's been doing great under this light. If I really wanted to get good growth out of this, I'd probably put another one up here just to really blast it. And I think there's 5 different brightness settings. This does come with a built-in timer with 3 different time durations you can pick. I have it on the 12-hour mode. It's got some ports, 1 port on each side basically, so you can link them in series. Same thing on this one. It's a magnetic mount that is very easy to remove if you need to. They're white, which I like the way the white looks. It's a 6500 Kelvin full spectrum plant light. So I have 2 of them on here. Basically, I'm using it to grow some neon pothos that's hanging from the ceiling right here. I also have got some wandering dude. I only got basically 1 little strand of this guy, but trying to get this going again. I've got some more pothos growing right here. And then I've got this Monstera Delicioso. So yeah, I've been using these for a couple months and I really like them. The one thing I don't like about built-in timers is the fact that if I lose power, I have to reset the timer. I think that's with any built-in timer, so it is what it is. I'm trying to automate this room as much as possible, but that's one thing that I would like to improve on. But I really like the build quality. It doesn't really get hot. I can hold it in my hand. I love the bright white LEDs. That's exactly the kind of lighting I like. It's been doing a great job of growing this Monstera. So this is looking really, really good. I think if I really wanted to get this going, I would put maybe 2 of these above it. But I'm still very happy with that. This wandering dude is gonna start taking off here shortly. I just planted this the other day. This pothos is doing pretty good too. I'll take clippings out of this and stick it in different tanks. So overall, I'm really happy with these lights, and I'm definitely gonna buy more for my other houseplants around the house. I think these would be really nice under our kitchen cabinets. I feel like you could hide them under the kitchen cabinets, have them on a timer, especially in the winter time when we don't get a whole lot of sun. Let me show you what the controller looks like in case you're curious. So here's the controller. You can see it's got a simple on-off, brightness settings, and then these are the 3 timer modes you can pick. 12 hours is probably going to be what you want, but you can also do 8 or 4, depending on your application. And then once you set it, as long as you don't lose power, you can just forget it. If you do lose power, just reset them. It's not a big deal, but I like to make everything as automatic as possible. And it's got a nice like 90-degree lens on it, so it really disperses the light pretty well. And they're full spectrum. I think they're only 9 watts each. Yeah, 9 watts each. So very low power. This would probably look really good on a 10-gallon fish tank. And if you mounted it above the 10-gallon, you could grow plants out of the 10-gallon as well. Maybe even a 20-gallon. That would look really nice. The other light I got for free from Barrina was the GrowForce BG02. This is another grow light. This is one that's meant to be suspended, and you definitely want to suspend this because this sucker gets hot, real hot. So I just suspended it from my ceiling once again. I've got outlets right on my ceiling, so it worked out great. Those are on a switch, so I can turn this on and off with the switch. But right now I have it on a smart timer because I was starting seedlings under this, earlier in the year. I'll try to show some B-roll of that. It operated very well. Now I should tell you that I've never ever used any kind of grow light for seedlings before, so I cannot compare this to another grow light. I can say though that it worked great for what I was using it for. It's got 3 rows of LED lights with different full spectrum LEDs on it. It's 200 watts. It's got a dimmer right here that you can control. I have it on max brightness right now, but I mean, you can control how bright you want that. And I don't know how much that's going to show up in the video. But yeah, 200 watts, definitely very powerful. I had like a 90% plus germination rate with this thing. And that's a new gardener that doesn't know what he's doing. So it could have very well been almost 100% if I know what I'm doing. All this hardware is included. It comes with these little self-locking ratchets. You pull on that to increase the height. So look at when I'm pulling this, it increases the height. So you can kind of angle this light. The maximum distance it's probably going to cover is like a 4 foot by 4 foot square. So I'm already thinking of what I'm going to use this for in the future. And I think in the winter time when I have to bring a lot of my plants in, or possibly a pond in or something like that, this would be the perfect light to put in this spot, because this table won't be here forever. And I'll be able to light those plants and keep them alive for the winter time. I've also planned on using this every spring to start seedlings. This has been a great product for me because it's really gotten me into vegetable gardening, which has been a whole new hobby for me. It's really been a cool bridge from aquariums to vegetable garden, and they really connect in a lot of ways. If you can grow vegetables outside, you can probably grow plants out of your fish tank. And if you can grow plants out of your fish tank, you could probably grow them in your fish tank. And just playing around with all these different lights has really taught me a lot. I'm not going to compare this to other grow lights. That's not the purpose of this video. I'm just trying to tell you my experience with this has been very, very good. So actually, one really cool thing I'm growing right now is a giant sequoia tree. I actually got a chance to see these with Jordan out in California at the national park, and it was really cool. I saw this germination kit in a science surplus store, and I bought it. You can see I got 2 little sequoia trees coming out of the included kit. So far, the only light they've ever seen is this grow light here. I am planning on moving them to a bigger pot, probably today, and planting them outside, you know, once they get big enough, because this is a climate I think they can survive over the winter. And in 2,000 years, when they're absolutely massive, if this neighborhood still exists, people are going to be scratching their heads. It's just kind of a long-term joke, but I think it'd be funny. So, definitely one of my favorite trees. A very cool experience to go see that national park. And thanks to this grow light, I'm growing them in my basement. So I think that's pretty cool. But I've started 3 different batches of seedlings with this light. Let me show you how this mechanism works. Like I said, if you pull this rope, this little ratcheting device will save your progress. Now if you want to make the rope longer, you pull down on this, and this will actually come down. Watch. Now it's on a weird angle. I just want to fix that. I just pull on this again. Very cool looking light too. It might not live here forever. I mean, I know I put a couple holes in my ceiling already, but it doesn't bother me. I can patch them up and paint them again. But this is definitely a really neat item that really got me into gardening. And I can't show you any seedlings right now because it's the middle of summer and you don't really need a grow light in the middle of summer. You can grow everything outside. Let me show you some of the plants I started with this that are doing absolutely great. And like I said, all thanks to this light, starting them indoors. We had a very weird spring in the Midwest here. It really didn't warm up until mid-June here in Illinois. So thanks to this grow light, I was able to get a lot of plants growing quite well before they made their journey outside. I also like that it came with these carabiners so that if I want to remove this light, all I'd have to do is unplug it and pop these carabiners off, and then I can just like pull these up to the ceiling and they'll be out of my way. Maybe I'll just bring it up there right now just to get it out of my way, because I'm going to be moving all of this junk and putting a really nice little aquarium stand back here for that bowl. So let's see if this will ratchet all the way up to the top of the ceiling and see how that looks. I like how easy it is to adjust the height of this light, because as your plants grow vertically, you can shorten the length of those cables and keep that light at the proper distance for your plants instead of burning them or allowing them to burn. But yeah, very cool light. Thank you so much, Barrina, for sending me both these products. So I actually went ahead and added 4 more of these orb lights. Now there's 4 above this 75-gallon tank. So that'll really help the Monstera and this pothos grow and all the other plants I decided to put on the top of this 75. And I also added 2 more over here for this spider plant that's gotten relocated. So that should hopefully grow that really well. I love how lightweight these are and just how easy it is to move them around. I wonder if they sell additional mounts for them, because the mounts are really easy. They're just sticky mounts, and normally I don't like sticky mounts, but I feel like these are doing a good job so far because these orb lights are so lightweight that shouldn't be a problem. And due to a radon mitigation system being put in, I had to relocate the 100-gallon stock pond, and I'm really excited to be using this Barrina grow light on the stock pond. So I don't think I'm going to keep this rabbit's foot fern right underneath the light like that. I'm going to find another home for it. I want to get this pond looking nice. So if you look at this section of the fish room, you'll see that this pond is going to be right in the middle of it. It's going to take a little getting used to, but I had a table here, so it's not too different. Got the pothos going all the way up the cords. I think that looks cool. I'll have to get some lighting for that. Maybe I'll get more of these orb glows, I don't know. And if you want to see the new radon mitigation system, there's a pipe going out the exterior wall. Goes all the way down into my foundation. Trying to hide it the best I can with this Monstera plant, which is doing a pretty good job, and this pothos plant that is actually coming from this top 40-gallon. So 100-gallon stock pond went in this corner. Now it's going to be a storage corner. I'm going to be cutting this. This cart is on wheels. I'm going to be cutting this and making it smaller so it fits better. But I might put some shelving in here. I don't know, that Monstera pretty much takes up the whole corner, so we'll have to see what I end up doing. I might maybe put something up here. Seems like a wasted space not to have something there. Just figured I'd update you and show you that I actually bought 4 more of these lights. I can add a bunch more to this if I want to. So who knows, I might end up doing that. Another bougie light I have is a twin star light. I have it on this 16-gallon aquascape. You can see it's an absolute swamp right now because I have not had time to maintain it. But look how well it grows all the plants. Got some red root floaters, some different rotalas. Some of these rotalas have turned to their emergent state and are just creeping out of the tank. Look at that. Look how many plants are growing. So we've got some hydrocotyl Japan, some dwarf water lettuce. You can see the actual red root floaters are flowering. Lights can grow plants a little too well, especially if you don't have time to maintain your tanks. This is one of those instances where I really got to get off my butt and maintain this. I just literally have not had a day to do it, so hopefully soon I'll get down here and maintain that. You can see it definitely needs some love. But twin star lights, really nice lights. And believe it or not, this planted tank, you'd think that with how nice the plants are growing in here and how good the fish look, it would be a very high-tech system, but honestly, it's just some NICREW Planted LED Plus lights. They make them a little different now than when I bought these. I've had these for a long time. I will say there are some NICREW lights out there that are absolute garbage, and then there's some NICREW lights that are really good. These are one of the really good ones. I think you'll pay about $65 a piece for the 4-footers, but they make the plants and the fish look absolutely insane. These, I wish they made them like this still. It was just a standard on-off. You can control how much blue, how much white, and then the mode. Now they have built-in timers, which is actually fine. I have 2 more of those, so I think I have... Now, you know what? I have 5 of these lights, and they all work great. I had one burn out, and NICREW actually sent me a replacement. So they are a good company, and I mean, look at the growth I'm getting with those cheap $65 lights. I got 2 lights on there, not more than 150 bucks to light that giant 90-gallon tank, and look how nice it looks. That grow light has really sparked a love for gardening for me, and actually all of these plants right here were started with that grow light. So I've got a couple Hawaii African marigolds that I started for Jordan. These are some of her flower seeds. Can't wait to see what those look like. The seed packet made them look really pretty. A couple orange bell peppers from just a bell pepper I got from the store that I really liked. Some Better Boy tomatoes. You can see how healthy they are. And ooh, some jelly bean tomatoes. I love these. Jelly bean. Who doesn't like a jelly bean tomato? Some more Better Boy tomatoes. So I gotta plant some of these. And then I don't even know what this is. I think another jalapeno plant. Looks like we got maybe 2 jalapeno plants here. So lots of plants I started from seeds. Been really loving this hobby because it is a way for me to feed my family healthy food and get the kids outside, get them interested in harvesting veggies and eating veggies. And I guess the point of this video really was just to talk about how you really don't need to spend a whole lot of money on lighting when it comes to your aquarium. I grow plants just fine with really cheap lights. You could probably do like light bulbs, honestly, and grow plants great. If you're curious what I'm doing right now, I'm frying up some chicken. I've been making these Popeyes chicken sandwiches homemade. Holy cow, are they good. You gotta get that double dip batter. Anyway, I think a jalapeno, fresh jalapeno, would be really good with this fried chicken. So we're gonna have Sydney go find us a jalapeno in the garden. Let's get this double dipped chicken thigh in this oil, fry it for about 6 minutes. Oh, I wish you guys could smell that right now. Woo! I put some straw down to kind of protect the top layer of soil because it's been so hot out. Super happy with how everything's growing in. It's really exciting because a lot of stuff is starting to flower and produce fruit. And I'm actually starting to be able to harvest some stuff out of here. And today we're gonna harvest some jalapenos for our chicken sandwiches that we're frying up. Good job, Sid. Look at that harvest. I think that's all we need right now. So I hope that helps. Hopefully this video kind of gives you some ideas for your fish room. Maybe you're looking for a budget LED light that you can put on your tank that will grow plants, make the fish look good, and it won't break the bank. That way you have more money for fried chicken or jalapenos. But as always, I appreciate you guys watching, and stay tuned for the next one. Bye.